So this week I was probably a bit over optimistic on getting the whole roof done for the boat. But I was at least going to get the rubbing strake off, even if I was doing it by myself. I've already done a temporary install on the diesel heater. I removed one of the seacocks for the cockpit drain and poked the exhaust through there. This is only for the time being until I actually get it installed properly. Before you get worried about me destroying something else, they were in a bad state, not working and probably not ideal for what they're used for. I wouldn't recommend installing your diesel heater like this. They're not the safest of things even when they're installed properly. Now it's nice and warm inside the boat, it's time to actually uninstall the rubbing strake. This is held on by some screws and nuts on the other end. Now I did use an impact drill to actually unscrew these, and it did work on the majority of them. I'd say probably about 80% of them, but some of them did actually just spin, which was a bit of a shame. In the meantime, the actual tarpaulin I'm going to be using to cover the boat did arrive. I'm not sure how long this is going to last. So now I've got the majority of the screws off, it's time to take out the white bit in the middle, which covered the screws from the outside. And once that's removed, I could try and figure out a way to get the rest of the bolts out. No, this isn't my camera playing up, this is actually the sky that turned orange. But I managed to get the white bit out. As you can see, it's really dirty. Now, the rest of the rubbing strake did actually come off, even without the screws coming out. It did split in places, but I managed to get most of it off. Now it's just a case of going through my collection of wood to see what I've got and whether I can finish off this shelter. So here we are, back down the boatyard. A bit windy. Puffin's looking a bit dirty again. So I managed to get the rubbing strake off, and a few of the bolts have not come off properly. And some of the screws are stuck as well. Some of them are rusted, epoxied in, that sort of thing, so the nuts are absolutely stuck. So I'm probably going to have to cut those off, replace those when I put the rubbing strake back on. I think I've managed to keep it in a very good condition. There is a few splits in it, but I do really want to reuse that, as it is actually quite a good rubbing strake, or rubbing strip, or I don't know, so many different names on this boat for all the different parts, but I think that's what it's called. But with that taken off now, I can now sort of start getting the shelter up. I have actually got all the wood together, so that is all underneath the boat, ready to go. And going to try and sort of design and build a shelter to go over this. I've already got a tarpaulin, as you've seen. So it's just seeing if I can get this to work. But it's a busy day down the yard, and everything's all going off down here, so just going to try and keep out of the way, see if my workmate will actually go into the cockpit and sit in there, and if it does, that's brilliant. I can work from the cockpit and keep everything on the boat. But yeah, let's see what I can get done today. So I just need to see if I've got this round, yep, round the right way, as well as will this fit. And I've already, don't know if I can see it in the camera, already snagged myself, and it's cold. Snagged myself on one of his arms, putting it away. So now what? It might be a bit high. That is a bit high. So this is high in the cockpit. It won't fit in here, I don't think. It'll get in the way anyway. But that probably is all right. I mean, that is sort of shoulder height, so that is quite high. But it is probably, you know, quite a nice view while you're working. But hopefully this seems to be all quite stable. Doesn't really move. I just can't do anything too heavy on it because I don't want it to fall over. Not that it can go anywhere right now. Right, so that's that set up. Now it's time to get all these screws off. So I have created a Billy No-Mate solution for undoing bolts that are sticky. So use a vice clamp and a normal clamp. Vice clamp on the screw, and that holds it still so it doesn't spin. And there we go. Using an impact drill inside with a socket on the end, I can undo the bolt. And you might have noticed another DIY thing when you haven't got plasters. I'm just being down to earth. Get it? Down to earth? No? Okay. So here we have the stuck bolt. Now, it probably won't work on this one, I'm filming it now. I've done it on two. And it doesn't work. Let's see what's happened. So I had a check, and all it was this one was a bit loose, so it's worth just trying to film it and do it. Not the ideal, but that should do it now. And there we go. One little knot in there now. So I've got a few of these to do. There's not that many, one there, a couple on the other side. The worst ones, which is why I won't film this and put you through the torture, is going into the depths of the back here. So I haven't got access this side, so I have to crawl all the way around. Now, my GoPro keeps messing up, so I don't want to spend half an hour setting up my GoPro and then it'll cut off anyway, as it keeps doing. But I'm just going to get these last bolts off, and then we'll see if we can get some woodwork done today. So now all the screws are off. It did take me a lot longer, mainly just because I'm clamping on the outside and then running inside, unscrewing, coming back out and moving it around. And it wasn't too bad for the ones around the bow and where I got easy access, but when you start climbing around the back of the boat and inside, you're climbing in and then it takes a little while to climb in and then undo it, and then you're going out and doing the same thing over and over again. But there was quite a few screws, so I didn't realise how many were left. But that's all done now. So the sun is going down and it's getting a little bit dark, but I'm going to hope I can get a few cut. I'm going to have this as my workshop area. It's going to be a lot better when it's covered, but this is going to be where I'm going to be cutting all the wood for the shelter, which will make it a bit easier. But I'm just going to see how this goes. I might cut the bits that are going to screw onto the side of the boat, as the posts will be remaining the same size, but hopefully you get an understanding of what I'm going to be doing. So you see, this is probably not the safest way to use a saw, and don't do what I do. But yeah, knots and the fact that this blade's quite blunt is not doing me any favours, but it's what I've got right now. So here we are. This is a foot long little bit 2x4, so I've screwed this in where the rubbing streak was. This is going to just be a fixing point, so when I start putting the 2x4s for the shelter up, I've got somewhere to hold them before the whole thing's assembled. The idea is these I can unscrew. If they do start wearing away at the fiberglass where it's screwed in, I can actually undo these. The shelter should stand by itself. I'm going to have supports going, but it's starting to get a bit dark. I'm going to try and get my first 2x4 secured and on here and see if that works, and you sort of get an idea what I'm going to be doing next week. Alright, so here we go. As you can see, first post is in. I'm going to do probably about eight of these around the boat, all around the same height. So this sort of gives me just enough height to get around. I don't want to go too high because otherwise you're just creating a sail on your boat, which in winter you don't really want. So this is screwed into here, using that to sort of set this on, but like I say, I can unscrew those once the whole frame's done. As when I start putting the posts in, like another one there, another one around the front, I can actually, well, what I will be doing is having some more 2x4s going between the posts, kind of like a railing, but also just to sort of hold them all against each other. Underneath the boat, I'm also going to go across that way as well. So the idea of it is it should be a very rigid frame. This will be on here for about 6 months while I'm doing the deck, but also while I'm doing the deck, re-coring, I've got all this painting to do, new hatchway to do, gonna have my workshop at the back there, which is gonna be fun. But once all this shelters up, it's gonna make life so much easier. I'm probably gonna spend about, I don't know, a week maybe just trying to run the diesel heater as much as I can to just try and get the boat dried out. It's not really that wet, but there's still water that comes in through the cockpit locker. And all the fixings on the deck, on the coach roof and the sides as well, that's water's been coming in there through the cockpit lockers. I really want to change those lids, but as you can see, the sun's going down. It's a bit late in the day. I might try and get more posts done, but I'm going to leave this week's video here. So now I'm all set up, I should be able to knock these out in half a day, get these all fixed to the boat, and then it's just a case of the hard bit, which is the roof going up here. So I'm going to be doing a pitched roof, very simple thing, but it's still where I'm going to have these posts at different widths across the boat. It means the pitch is going to be different. So I'm going to start in the middle and work my way outwards. But you'll see that next week. So don't forget to stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe so you can, well, see that video. See you again next week.